Hi guys, my name is Riven Phoenix and this is drawing the human figure from your mind, lesson 9. So in the previous video we started to investigate the formula needed to understand the invention of the head from its side view, and we had started to make these calculations. So in this video what we're going to do is redo this whole the side view again, because we want to make sure that we begin to understand the pattern of thinking in the formula so we can keep bringing it up in our heads. So let's get started. Okay, so now I'm just working on the head, so we're magnifying this. So we stated that we will draw a dot, and we would draw another dot, giving us the height of the head based on the 8-head formula. And then we're going to divide it in half. And the next item is that we need to make a rectangle. So we would just take this and just eyeball the width of the rectangle. So right now we have a square. So to simplify the formula now, okay, so right now the pattern is a dot, 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 giving you the height, and then a dot on the left, dot on the right, giving you the width. Then to get the extra length needed for the correct proportions for the invention of the head is to divide this in half, and take the width from here to here. When you divide this in half, you're going to add this width and this width, the small widths on the left and right. So here we can just eyeball it. Okay, so once we have this, we're just going to lightly draw the X, the plus. Okay, and then we'll specify the sides of the rectangle. Okay, so this is simple enough, and then we can just give it the bottom and the top. So it's a very slight rectangle. Okay, so the first formula is from the center to we would divide the lower in half, divide one more time, giving us the starting point, the mathematically correct position of where the jaw will start. To get the correct angle, we need to find the center of this lower coordinates. So we can even draw a line if we have to. And with practice, you'll actually be able to eyeball this, and we're going to look at how to do this right. Okay, so now we get the center, we divide it in half. When we go down, up, it gives us the angle for the jaw. Okay, so I took this dot and then found the center, divided in half, went straight down, and then divided this triangle that I had in half, giving me the angle. And now we can state that we can now start to create the jaw, and this gives us the angle for the curve, and we will not touch the bottom, just connect from here to here, giving it that slight angle of the lower jaw. The next is that when you have the center of this coordinate, we're going to divide in half, and then go up and divide it again. Okay, so it was take the the height of this divided in half, divided, giving us the position where the skull needs to finish off. Okay, so the next item is that we need to find this curvature. So to do this, we stated that if you divide this in half and you divide this section in half, you need to find the center of this and go down just like we did here. We're doing the same exact thing, going down and make this triangle find the angle. So it's divide, okay, and then divide, go down, go up, so you get a division of this and you get that angle. So here we begin to turn. So for when you're turning this like this, right, it's okay to like make a small curve and then up a little, because in real life that's how it is anyways. It doesn't really matter because this is going to be hidden anyways when we get into the muscle feature, but just to let you know. Okay, so when we have this, we stated that when we have the back point here, we will just curve it to exactly to this point. Now to create the curve for the back, we stated that we can divide this in half, divide this in half, and do that same thing, get that angle. Okay, and we just need to find the center of this. So divide, divided this, got the center. So this gives us the where the line has to touch. So here we can just make that curve going upwards. Now in order for this to figure out where this curve is actually supposed to hit, we can state that you can when you have this division, you can when you divide this gives you the position of where this line needs to go. You go up, and then you just follow through, giving you that slight horizontal patch that's on the top of the skull. Okay, and now when you divide the top right quadrant in half, when you divide it again, you get the point at which this horizontal needs to start turning. Okay, and we also stated to get the actual angle of this front to be accurate, we can, since we have the division in half, this we would divide this in half, divide it again. Alright, so divide it again, and then when we divide it one more time, we get that slight angle. So let me repeat that again. So when you have this horizontal line divided, you're going to divide this vertically in half, divide it. Okay, so now you get that angle. So now the to finish this off, we found out that there was a calculation for the brow area where the eyebrow sits and the eye socket. For that is that when you have the center point here, so you're going to divide this here, right? And basically it was like you don't have to make this line here. So if it's from this point to this point, when you make that line, it's actually this point and this point going across, trying to touch this line. So basically you can just draw it out lightly, but this automatically gave you the angle to where the brow area was. And once you have this, you can now just start to come down like so. Okay, so the next item was when you have, we need to finish this off. So now when you have the horizontal division, right, you divide this and you divide it in half, okay, and then you divide it in half again. So let me state that one more time. So you divide this in half, then you divide this in half, then you divide it again. You will get that slight curve where the head needs to go. And now this is, if you had drawn a line from this point to this point, this would give you that angle. The human head. Okay. Okay, so let me actually clean this up. I got a little messy here. You can see that. Let me repeat that one more time. Okay, so when you have that horizontal, you divide, and then you divide, and then you divide again. Okay, so that's divide. So we're okay. So this is the center. We divide, 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 and you get that slight curve here, like this, and it meets like that. So now we have the construction of the side view of this invention. Okay, so now the other item is that in order for us to figure the eye socket out, the mathematically correct way to do this is, if you have the center, you can divide this in half, and that just tells you from this point, okay, you would have the eyes. You can just make like a curve like this, and this curve doesn't go all the way here. It stops in the middle here. So from this section to this section, right? So it's just like this. It's just curve, giving you the socket for the eye. So this curve is not connecting over here. It's connecting here, right? So just give like a slight where the eye is going to fit in here. Okay, so the next item is now we're going to, all right, we also need to do the top of the head here. So that slight mark that you have on the skull, right? So we stated that on the center point, you can actually just curve in this way, and to connect this line over here, you can just divide this in half and divide it, and now you will have that curve. And the center of this, the center of this coordinate, just gives you the angle at which this needs to finish off, and you can just finish it off like this. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit of extra stuff here, because we are trying to now just improving this a little bit at a time here. So one of the other things is that when you have the jaw, the point for the jaw over here, right, you can actually start to make so you can like choose a width here. I mean, it's not going to be that big. It's like if for that, I mean, if you want the formula for that is just divide and then you divide again, but you get that width for the where the eyeball sits inside the skull, right? So from this you can now just go in this direction, giving you that angle. Okay, so for this, now we need to make that cheekbone. So the formula for that is when you have the center, when you divide, and so you have the center, you look in this, divide it, and you come back to the left, divide it again. This gives you the just, you know, you can make like a line showing you that this is where the angle it turns. And the height of the cheekbone is just determined by looking at you divide from here, from the center, and just divide it, basically just like that, and it gives you the cheekbone. And here you can just go up for now. Okay. So the other thing is for the jawbone is where exactly does that jaw end, where all the teeth will sit. So basically it's actually just the center. So here, from here, you can just make a line and just curve it just a little bit. You know, just curve it. It's no big deal. Don't go all the way down, but just give a slight curve. Okay. So for the mouth, as to what angle does it sit on, the formula for that is that you can just look at the center here. Okay. And when you divide this in half, you would just, and so here is the division for where the lips are going to be. Okay, and you make it at this angle, so all the teeth would sit. So the angle, the mouth is not going to be straight, it's going to be at this angle. I'm going to explain to you what's actually happening here, okay, in a little bit, because there's we're doing something to help the brain imprint this slowly. Okay, so the other thing here is now, so to but this now you can make the nose if you want to, but I'll show you how this would look if you wanted to make the nose. So basically this angle here is actually a bone in the skull, and the nose then is the cartilage, so it goes in this direction, okay? And then the center from this to the middle, so if I take this and divide this in half and divide it again, is actually just where it goes. So from this center you would draw a line in this direction, giving you the angle of the nose for the bottom of the nose. Okay, we're going to go over this all over again because we need to simplify this even more so it becomes a pattern of thought. Okay, so now we have that nose area. Okay, so now to determine how the ear sits, this is very simple. Basically where the jawline is, right, you can just from here draw a line. Okay, stop where this center is. We're drawing a line, and from the bottom where we had stated where the skull goes, from the bottom of the skull goes, you can start to make the place of the ear. And the width of the ear is basically the division from here to here to here. So I said from the center is, so you divide this section from this section. So you divide this, and divide it to the left. Okay, so it's one division, two division, third division, giving you the curve that you need, just like the width of the ear. Okay, so now we have the skull in place. So here is where we're going to have to redo this again, because now we're beginning to simplify. Where we weren't drawing all these lines, we're beginning to understand these dots. And I'll do that, but I want to show you something here. So if you have the division of this left coordinate here, right, and if you divide this in half, so you make a line here, just for now, okay, and on this side, if you take this bottom right and divide this in half, and then divide one more time, giving you another line, basically what happens is that this, if you draw a line from here to here, right, let's do that. Let's draw this line from here to here. This is the actual axis where how the skull sits on the body. So if I turn this like so, like make it look straight, like this is how the skull actually rests on the body at this angle. So and this allows you to see why the nose is able to stay almost horizontal, a little bit up, but not all horizontally, but it has that slight angle, and the person can see. And this is why when you're learning about portrait drawing, so it's stated that if you take the middle of the eye, right, so basically when you have this line and you make a 90 degrees angle from here, from the eye, like so, okay, and you make a 90 degrees angle from here, and you make a 90 degrees angle from where this sits, what ends up happening is that when you measure, the distance from the eye to the lower chin is exactly the same from the eye to the top of the skull. So this is why when you're doing portrait drawing, the forehead is not actually larger or smaller in what ends up happening when you're doing portrait. It's actually the same exact size. So this will now help us understand how the body is able to, this invention of ours is going to sit on the body at that gravitational pull. Okay, so so what I will do now is in the next lesson we're going to do this again, and we're going to begin to now slowly talk about how we need to simplify these points, because we started to do this, but we need to create that pattern of thinking where we can speak this in a sentence. So I look forward to that lesson. I hope you join me. Thanks.